Now we come to socialization under Chapter 3, the basis of human behavior. Socialization is a process by which individuals acquire knowledge, skills, and dispositions which enable them to participate as effective members of groups and society. It is a process that continues over the entire lifespan and through which one learns and develops ways of effective functioning at any stage of development. Socialization forms the basis of social and cultural transmission from one generation to the next. Its failure in any society may endanger the very existence of that society. The concept of socialization suggests that all human beings are capable of a far greater repertoire of behaviors than they ever exhibit. We begin life in a particular social context and there we learn to make certain responses and not others. The most clear example is our linguistic behavior. Although we can speak any language that exists in this world, we learn to speak only that language which people around us speak. Within this social context, we also learn many other things. For example, when to express emotions and when to suppress them. The probability of our behaving in a particular way is greatly affected by people who relate to us. Anyone who possesses power relative to us can socialize us. Such people are called socialization agents. These agents include parents, teachers, and other elders who are more knowledgeable in the ways of their society. Under certain conditions, however, even our age peers can affect socialization. The process of socialization is not always a smooth transition between the individual and the socialization agent. It sometimes involves conflicts. In such, in such situations, not only are some responses punished, but some are also blocked by the behavior of others in effective ways. At the same time, several responses need to be rewarded so that they acquire greater strength. Thus, reward and punishment serve as basic means for achieving the goals of socialization. In this sense, all socialization seems to involve efforts by others to control behavior. Socialization, also, although primarily consists of deliberate teaching for producing acceptable behavior, the process is not unidirectional. Individuals are not only influenced by their social environment, but they also influence it. In societies that comprise many social groups, individuals may choose those to which they wish to belong. With increased migration, individuals are not only socialized once, but are often re socialized differently in their lifespan. This process is known as acculturation, which we will discuss further ahead. Due to the process of enculturation and socialization, we find behavioral similarities within societies and behavioral differences across societies also. Both processes involve learning from other people. In the case of socialization, the learning involves deliberate teaching. In the case of enculturation, teaching is not necessary for learning to take place. Enculturation means engagement of people in their culture. Since most of the learning takes place with our engagement in our culture, socialization can be easily subsumed under the process of enculturation. A good a good deal of our learning involves both enculturation and socialization. Language learning is a good example. While a lot of language learning takes place spontaneously, there is also certain amount of direct teaching of the language, such as in grammar courses in elementary schools. On the other hand, learning of language other than the mother tongue, such as learning of Hindi by a European child or of French by a child in India, is completely a deliberate process. Socializing agents. So, the number of people who relate to us possess power to socialize us. Some people are called socialization agents. Parents and family members are the most significant socialization agents. Legal responsibility of child care, too, lies with parents. Their task is to nurture children in such a manner that their natural potentials are maximized and negative behavior tendencies are minimized or controlled. Since each child is also part of a larger community or society, several other influences, for example, teachers, peer groups, also operate on her his life. So these are such as parents. So parents have most direct in and significant impact on children's development. Parents have most direct and significant impact on children's development. So children respond in different ways to parents in different situations. Parents encourage certain behaviors by rewarding them verbally, for example, praising, or in other tangible ways, for example, buying chocolates or objects of child's desire. They also discourage certain behaviors through non approving behaviors. They also arrange to put children in a variety of situations that provide them with a variety of positive experiences, learning opportunities, and challenges. While interacting with children, parents adopt different strategies, which are generally known as parenting styles. A distinction is made between authoritative, authoritarian, and democratic or permissive parenting styles. Studies indicate that parents vary enormously in the treatment of children in terms of their degree of acceptance and degree of control. The conditions of life in which parents live, poverty, illness, job stress, nature of family, also influence the styles they adopt in socializing children. Grandparental proximity and network of social relationships play considerable role in child socialization directly or through parental influences. Another socializing agent is school. So, school is another important socializing agent since children spend a long time in schools, which provide them with a fairly organized setup for interaction with teachers and peers. School is today being viewed as a more important agent of child socialization than parents and family. Children learn not only cognitive skills, for example, reading, writing, doing mathematics, but also many social skills. For example, ways of behaving with elders and age mates, accepting roles, fulfilling responsibilities. They also learn and internalize the norms and rules of society. Several other positive qualities, such as self initiative, self control, responsibility, and creativity, are encouraged in schools. These qualities make children more self reliant. If the transaction has been successful, the skills and knowledge children acquire in schools, either through curriculum or interaction with teachers and peers, also get transferred to other domains of their life. Many researchers believe that a good school can altogether transform a child's personality. That is why we find that even poor parents want to send their children to good schools. Another socializing agent is peer groups. One of the chief characteristics of the middle childhood stage is the extension of social network beyond home. Friendship acquires great significance in this respect. It provides children not only with a good opportunity to be in company of others but also for organizing various activities, for example, play collectively with the members of their own age. Qualities like sharing, trust, mutual understanding, role acceptance, and fulfillment develop in interaction with peers. Children also learn to assert their own point of view and accept and adapt to those of others. Development of self identity is greatly facilitated by the peer group. Since communication of children with peer group is direct, process of socialization is generally smooth. Media influences another socializing agent. So, in recent years, media has also acquired the property of this socialization agent. Through television, newspapers, books, and cinema, the external world has made or is making its way into our home and our lives. While children learn about many things from these sources, adolescents and young adults often derive their models from them, particularly from television and cinema. The exposure to violence on television is a major issue of discussion since to since studies indicate that observing violence on television enhances aggressive behavior among children, there is a need to use this agent of socialization in a better way in order to prevent children from developing undesirable behaviors. Now we come to another topic, acculturation. So, discussing about acculturation under chapter 3, the basis of human behavior. Acculturation refers to cultural and psychological changes resulting from contact with other cultures. Contact may be direct, for example, one moves and settles in a new culture, or indirect, for example, through media or other means. It may be voluntary, for example, when one goes abroad for higher studies, training, job, or trade, or involuntary, for example, through colonial experience, invasion, political refuge. In both cases, people often need to learn, and also they do learn something new to negotiate life with people of other cultural groups. For example, during the British rule in India, many individuals and groups adopted several aspects of British lifestyle. They preferred to go to the English schools, take up salaried jobs, dress in English clothes, speak English language, and change their religion. Acculturation can take place any time in one's life. Whenever it occurs, it requires relearning of norms, values, dispositions, and patterns of behavior. Changes in these aspects require re socialization. Sometimes people find it easy to learn these new things, and if their learning has been successful, shifts in their behavior easily take place in the direction of the group that brings in acculturation. In this situation, transition to a new life is relatively smooth and free from problems. On the other hand, in many situations, people experience difficulties in dealing with new demands of change. They find change difficult and are thrown into a state of conflict. This situation is relatively painful as it leads to experience of stress and other behavioral difficulties by acculturating individuals and groups. Psychologists have widely studied how people psychologically change during acculturation. For any acculturation to take place, contact with another cultural group is essential. This often generates some sort of conflict. Since people cannot live in a state of conflict for a long time, they often resort to certain strategies to resolve their conflicts. For a long time, it was felt that social or cultural change oriented towards modernity was unidirectional, which means that all people confronting the problem of change would move from a traditional state to a state of modernity. However, studies carried out with immigrants to Western countries and native or tribal people in different parts of the world have revealed that people have various options to deal with the problem of acculturative changes. Thus, the course of acculturative change is multidirectional. Changes due to acculturation may be examined at subjective and objective levels. At the subjective level, changes are often reflected in people's attitudes towards change. They are referred to as acculturation attitudes. At the objective level, changes are reflected in people's day to day behaviors and activities. These are referred to as acculturation strategies. In order to understand acculturation, it is necessary to examine it at both levels. At the objective level of acculturation, one can look at a variety of changes that might be evident in people's life: language, dressing style, means of livelihood, housing and household goods, ornaments, furniture, means of entertainment, use of technology, travel experience, and exposure to movies, etc., can provide clear indications of change that individuals and groups might have accepted in their life. Based on these indicators, we can easily identify the degree to which a culturative change has entered into an individual's or a group's life. The only problem is that these indicators do not always indicate conscious acceptance of change by individuals or groups. They are held by people because they are easily available and economically affordable. Thus, in some cases, these indicators appear somewhat deceptive. In order to place some confidence in conscious acceptance of change, we need to analyze them at the subjective level. John Barry is well known for his studies on psychological acculturation. He argues that there are two important issues that all acculturating individuals and groups face in culture contact situations. One relates to the degree to which there is a desire to maintain one's culture and identity. Another relates to the degree to which there is a desire to engage in daily interactions with members of other cultural groups. Based on people's positive or negative answer to these issues, the following four acculturative strategies have been derived. First is integration. It refers to an attitude in which there is an interest in both maintaining one's original culture and identity while staying in daily interaction with other cultural groups. In this case, there is some degree of cultural integrity maintained while interacting with other cultural groups. Assimilation. So it refers to an attitude which people do not wish to maintain their cultural identity and they move to become an integral part of the other culture. In this case, there is also loss of one's culture and identity. Third is separation. It refers to an attitude in which people seem to place a value on holding on to their original culture and wish to avoid interaction with other cultural groups. In this case, people often tend to glorify their cultural identity. Fourth is marginalization. It refers to an attitude in which there is little possibility or interest in one's cultural maintenance and little interest in having relations with other cultural groups. In this case, people generally remain undecided about what they should do and continue to stay with a great deal of stress. Sociocultural factors interact with biological dispositions of individuals to give a particular shape to their behavior in a given society. As we have discussed earlier, that human behavior is not fully under the control of biological factors alone. Since societies and cultures across the globe are not homogeneous, human behavior is also not expressed in the same way everywhere. This allows us to say that besides biological roots, there are cultural roots of human behavior. While genes write the script of biological transmissions, mimes, mimes write the script of cultural transmissions. The genes and mimes work together to allow behavior to unfold partly in some similar and partly in different ways within and across societies. Understanding of cultural basis of behavior will make us to realize that behavioral differences between individuals or groups are not due to the structural and functional properties of their biological system alone. Cultural features of individuals and groups contribute in significant ways in generating behavioral differences. So, this is all about the basis of behavior, chapter 3. So, summarizing it, we can say first of all, we started with the human nervous system, which consists of billions of interconnected, highly specialized cells called neurons. Neurons or nerve cells control and coordinate all human behavior. So, the central nervous system CNS consists of the brain and the spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system branches out from the central nervous system to all parts of the body. It has two divisions, the somatic nervous system related to the control of skeletal muscles and the autonomic nervous system related to the control of the internal organs. The autonomic system is subdivided into the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. So the neurons have dendrites which receive impulses, and the axon which transmits impulses from cell body to other neurons or to muscle tissue. Every axon is separated by a gap called synapse. Every axon is separated by a gap called synapse. A chemical called neurotransmitter is released from the axon terminal that carries the message to the other neuron. The central core of the human brain includes hindbrain, consisting of the medulla, the pons, the reticular formation, and the cerebellum, the midbrain, and the thalamus and hypothalamus. Above the central core lies the forebrain or cerebral hemispheres. The limbic system is involved in the regulation of behaviors such as fighting, fleeing, etc. It is comprised of hippocampus, amygdala, and hypothalamus. The endocrine system consists of the glands, pituitary gland, thyroid gland, adrenal gland, pancreas, and gonads. The hormones secreted by them play a crucial role in behavior and development. In addition to biological factors, culture is considered an important determinant of human behavior. It refers to the man made part of the environment which has two aspects, material and subjective. It refers to a shared way of life of a group of people through which they derive meanings of their behaviors and base their practices. These meanings and practices are transmitted through generations. Though biological factors play a general enabling role, the development of specific skills and competencies is dependent upon the cultural factors and processes. So, we also learned about culture through the process of inculturation and socialization. Inculturation refers to all learning that take place without di- deliberate, deliberate teaching. Socialization is a process by which individuals acquire knowledge, skills, and dispositions which enable them to participate as effective members of groups and society. The most significant socialization agents are parents, school, peer groups, mass media, etc. Acculturation refers to cultural and psychological changes resulting from contact with other cultures. The acculturative strategies adopted by individuals during the course of acculturation are integration, assimilation, separation, and marginalization. This is all about this summarizing. Thank you.